So we'll create a new project and we'll add the images to those the project. So if you have your images image folder, you can drag it around, or you can drag it from your desktop to the project folder. That's fine. So I'm going to create a new project. We're going to call it the JavaFX project. Okay. Let's call this Chapter 14 review. So here in this folder, if you want to drag your image folder into the src folder, okay, so you can find your image folder somewhere, wherever you store it at. I put mine in that Java 2 folder, and this image folder here, you just drag it into the src folder, and it's going to ask you to copy the file or link the files or whatnot. So just click the copy the file, so you have an extra copy into the folder. So if you want to delete it or mess it up, you don't have to you don't have to accidentally delete your original image folder. So if you put in here, you see that it has an image like a package, and then the image.card. Okay, so because the folder structure are like that, right? So inside your folder you have the image, and inside the image you have another folder called card. That's why you see the .card. So in the interface here, you see the dot something is really, each dot represents a directory. Okay, so if I have another directory inside card, it will say image.card.flags or something. Okay, so those levels are displayed inside your IDE in this fashion. Okay, so inside here in the application, it has this already built in for us, right? When you create a JavaFX application, it automatically asks this for us. And you can modify these. I'm just going to, it's really big now. Let me see if I can change some of these. I think it's just way too big for it. Project, properties, editor. Well, I guess that's fine. So we'll keep this here. I'm going to remove the try. I should remove everything here. We'll do from scratch. Okay, we'll keep that main method here. So just make sure you have the main method. If you don't have it, and if you try to run from Eclipse, it may not find the main method, so it will look elsewhere and then load the other method from there. So just make sure you have that in here. And then, so in the okay, because it's a JavaFX application, it doesn't mean that you always have to have a stage and then run. You can still run just regular Java code in here. So without even launching the GUI interface. If you want to do the same stuff that we did before for Java 1, you can very well do here as well. This is just another method, right? So for example, if you want to just do your regular Java stuff, output it to the console, you can do that as well. In here, in the start, you could still do like system.out, println, and then hi, right? Same thing as before. If you run this now, it should just run on the output down here, just like before. Okay, exactly same. So you have both options here. You can output to the console as well as output to the GUI interface, the stage. Okay. The only difference is now we're extending the application class, which allows us to create that GUI interface. If you don't have that here, then mainly just you're back to your regular console-based application. Okay, so that's the only difference here. So with that said, let's go ahead and then populate this method here with some of the code that we need to run. So we need to have a, so we have the stage already, right? It's called a primary stage. Added for us by default. You can call it whatever you want, that's fine. I'll keep that as is. And then let's go ahead and create a, let's create a pane. We'll just use the HBox is fine for now. So HBox, we'll just call this the HBox is okay. So new HBox, okay, and we need to import this HBox from the JavaFX scene layout. So we got the pane. You need a pane to store your objects. It's easier that way. And then you need to, so somewhere down here at the very bottom, you're going to have a scene. So you could do down here somewhere. You could do like a scene. Scene is equal to new scene. And in this scene, we need to add something to the scene. Okay, we need to add or to root one of these panes or other objects here. So for now, we're just going to add the HBox here. Okay, and HBox will be the main container to store our objects. And just also be aware that you can nest all these different panes within other panes as well. You can put HBox inside another HBox, inside another VBox, inside a grid, and so on. So all those are different components that can be nested inside each other. Okay, so it can get really complex. Like and a good example would be like if you want to build a interface that's very common to like a web page, or like you see here, you have your navigation on the top, maybe your navigation on the left, on the right. It doesn't matter. You can create one pane for the top and one for the left and the right. Each of those panes will be nested inside the border pane, right? Border pane. As you can see, if you should do this, and the border pane gives you this output, this layout here. So with this layout, you can see that you can use this as a web page or your regular interface, right? The top will be your logo and navigation, if you want to, or maybe your navigation goes to the left, and the main content here on the right side will be that, and your footer on the bottom. So it looks like a regular web page. So the border pane, and then you can have another, maybe your HBox object goes here. You have another HBox in here, and you can nest it in anywhere you want. Okay, so all these different kinds of panes allows you to do all these different layouts. But for the HBox, it's a horizontal box. That means that your object we add to the HBox, it's going to be stacked from the left to the right. Okay, it's going to horizontally. So when we create the scene, we add the scene. What's next after that? After you create the scene, you add the box to the scene. How do you show it to the interface, the GUI interface? What's the next step?
Set the scene.
You set the scene on the
Primary stage.
On the primary stage, right? Okay, so you set the primary stage. Set the scene. Okay. And then you put a scene name in here. Here we just call it scene, but you can call it, main scene, or what kind of scene it is. You put that here. Okay, so this stage here, remember, one stage can only have one scene. You cannot have two scenes or two stages at one time here. We set the stage, we set the scene, and then finally we show it, right? Stage.show. So this is just the minimum requirement for the stage to be visible. You could set the title of the stage, which is just a window. You can also set the icon of the stage, which is the little icon. If you look at Eclipse on the top left, there's a little icon here. You can set that as well, so it has different icon to display. You can just use any image, any graphic images, it'll work as well. Okay, so for now, this is fine, but it's empty, there's nothing there. So you want to add something to that HBox, and why don't we add an image to that HBox? Well, we know to do buttons, right? We know to do buttons, we know to do labels and text box. Okay. Why don't we add the image? So the image is, you need two steps to do that. Okay, you need to have the image class to instantiate the image itself. Okay, to load that image, and then after that you load the image into the image view class. Okay, so you cannot just display the image directly into the HBox. You have to display inside, load inside the image view, and then from there the image view goes into the HBox. Okay, so one way is, if you want to reuse the image again and again, then you should create an image object to store that image. Okay, if you have a collection of images, then you have an array of images, right? So for now, we just store one image. Equal to new image, and in here is the link to that image. So the image is inside the image folder. Okay, and inside here you see that has all these kinds of. So let's put the flag. So flag 0 through 10. So if you double click, it shows you right here on the screen here. This is the flag for that. Okay, and so we want to show the image inside the image folder, and then we want to show flag. Just hit flag 1. Okay, this is the first step. Okay, you have to have an image instance. So import the image class. Okay, once you've done that, then now you can load this image into the image view class. So image view, in here you can call it just image. So no image view, and then in here put the image object you just created, to put it in here. Okay, so and then import this image view just like you did with the other one. Okay, so it takes these 2 steps here. If you don't want to reuse this image again, if you just load it one time and after this you don't want to reference it again, then you could just copy this and put this inside here, right? So it's just like a anonymous image that is used only once. Okay. And then once you have that done, then now you can add this image view to the HBox. Okay, so HBox get children. Get children, and then dot add. We could do add all. It's easier. You can do add if you want to add one at a time, or add all is usually easier for me. And then image. You probably should want to name this a little bit better, like image view or something, or maybe like flag or something, right? You call this flag. That's fine. Okay, so we have the image loaded into the image view, and then we add the image view into the HBox. Then we load the box into the scene, and then scene into the stage, and then show. Okay, so a lot of steps involved here. So if you save this and run, so there's the image of the flag. Okay, this is the default size of the flag. Whatever this size is, it is a default size. And since we didn't specify a size for the scene, then it will take the default size of the flag. If you have a tiny flag, then it will be really tiny. If it is big, it will be that size. Or maybe it will take a default size. You can change it though. Okay, so just make sure that the image here is inside the href source folder. If you happen to drag this inside your application folder, then you have to say application, okay, / image, and so on. If you put inside a package, because right now it's not inside a package at all, it's just in the source folder, okay? So that's why I reference it directly from the source folder. This is like relative to that source folder. So if you drag this image and you put it inside the application, then you want to reference that package, and then / the folder name. And you can put this image inside anywhere. It could be in the application folder. You can create a new package called images, and then you store the image folder inside the image application package. you still have to reference that here. Okay, so that's entirely up to you. Or you can use a complete full URL here as well. I think I have earlier, I think I lost it, but you can put a URL image here from the web, so you can load that as well. Okay, so this is for the H box. And what if you add another image? We could add another image here. I'm just going to copy this and then put it here. We'll call this image 2, and then just image 2. Then the flag will be like flag 2. Okay, so I have a second image, and then I'm going to add the image 2 down here as well. So we can add multiple images or any objects to that H box, and the order will be in that particular order. However, you put it here in the order from left to right. So the first image will be on the left, second on the right, and it keeps going to in that order. Okay, so if we load this image, this file, you should see 2 images of the flag. Okay. Again, it will take up the space depending on the total width and height of those 2 images. So there's no padding involved. You can set the padding in there as well, so you have some white space in between. You can set the border and all those border with CSS. Okay, if you do that, it's a little bit tricky because I don't think you can apply directly to the image view. You have to wrap each of these flags inside the H box, and you can style the H box with the CSS. Okay. So now another quick way to do that is the image box. When you instantiate the H box up here, you could put a number in here. This number here will give you that, just like that, the margin around the H box. So if I put like, 10, for example, it's a 10 pixels. Okay, I think that should leave like a space around those 2 images, 2 flags. I can't remember. Yeah, right. You see a little tiny space in here now. Before it was like all bundled together. Now it has like a little white space here. If you put like a little bit bigger, as you can see, let's put 50 or something, and then you see that it has it's like a horizontal gap between the 2 images here.
Can it only take one parameter in there?
Yeah,
I
you.
don't know if you could do like, like 50, comma 10, comma 20, comma 30. Kind of do
That'll be like an inset. Let's see.
yeah.
Yeah, see if it take an inset or not. No, it doesn't let you do it. It's just a double for spacing. So if you want to know if it allows or not, you click on the box, and then you do a control space bar. It will tell you the constructors, and then it tells you what you can and cannot do. You can add a double space. You can add, the object directly in there if you want, but no, you cannot do the other one.
Okay.
So some of these panes have different properties. Some you can, some you can't. So okay, so any questions on this? How I added these images to the image view and then show it to the
I still have an error on my H box here.
Okay. What did the error say?
H box fits children at all. It's giving me an error at all. I don't know why. So.
The H box?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like giving an error right here. Oh, okay. That changed it? No. I thought that's all. It says no in this building.
You can just put add over click add.
Okay.
Yeah, have a good class, guys. I'm gonna go home and drink a bottle of bleach. Okay. that open.
No balance.
Okay, no, right. See that?
No.
Let's see, if we go to, let's see, import, go to the spelling.
Start. No, before.
What?
Before the semicolon. So you just get all. A little after. Isn't it start with like down
Yeah, that's the case, but that
Yeah.
shouldn't be, that shouldn't be the case.
just to make sure.
Yours is, yeah, I'm not sure why you would do that. Yeah, sure, but we should add all image.
Well, granted, I'm not doing this in the main, I'm doing it in a separate thing. Will that change anything or no?
No, you're fine, it should be at the start. You take out those objects inside of the parentheses, just remove all of them. Yeah. Okay, so I think something is wrong there. Okay, you cannot put the image in there. I think it has an image. The image is an image, it has to be image view type. So you added the image, because you have an image view, you have it
Do that
reversed.
backwards.
Yeah.
I did it backwards?
Yeah, so you cannot put the image type inside here. I think you were adding this object inside here. Okay, you cannot put that in here. It had to be the image view type.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what it was.
okay. I was
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
That's shallow, right?
Yeah, so you have to put the image view object in here,
okay.
not the
now it's
image.
working, now it's working.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's why I had a kind of bad naming here. Usually you put like image view or something so you know that the view is an image.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
got over it.
No, yeah, that's a tricky one.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, so we got this. What if you want to, like one of the assignment is to randomly generate an array of these images and then you want to display this image to the view. How would you do that? How do you, so let's just say I have like what, 10 flags? We have 10 flags from, which is, how big is this flag 0? That's they're the same size as 1. Let me just check the size of 1. Yeah, they seem to be both same
Well,
size.
pretty big.
Yeah. So what if you want to generate flags from 0 through flag 9 into an array, randomly put into an array, and then we'll display a random flag from that array. How do you do that? So let's do that. I mean, you know your arrays, right? You remember arrays?
Yeah.
Okay, so notice how I did line 17 and line 19 and 20. All these are like really redundant, right? I could do it so that this number 1, 2, and 3 and so on could be set so that it is something like this, plus, and then maybe like a n, right? Plus that. So this n here could be a random number between 0 and 10. Okay, and then you loop through this a do loop or while loop or a for loop, and then you will randomly generate all these images into the array. And then finally you could display the data. So let's just do this. Let's just put all these flags into an array in that order from 0 to 9 is fine. And then we'll do a random generator to pick a flag or two from that array and display to the view. Okay? We'll do that programmatically, so we're not going to do hard coding everything here. So array is array of type image, okay? Is this type. So we're going to have an image, and do up here. Image is an array, right? Array is brackets, okay? I will call this, we just rename this, is fine. Or okay, flags, that's fine. Flags, or just flag. New image, and then we want to have what's it, 10 of them, right? So 0 through 9, a total of 10 flags. Okay, so n is going to be 10. So you could put up here, you can put n is 10. That's fine. Or you put like here and then the flag of n, right? Either way. So 10 flags. And then now we're going to create a loop. Hold on. Because we need to create an image view containing that's not right. Okay, any idea how we do this?
Do the for loop first. So for I.
Right.
And then we can put that I.
Okay, yeah, before we do this, yeah, let's do this. So we're going to put a for loop. So for int I is from 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I is less than n, okay? The n flag, which is 10. And then I plus plus, right? Okay. And then now we want to put something like that in there. Okay, so new image is going to be image of flag plus I, not n but I, right? So it'll be 0 flag 0 dot give, flag 1 dot give, and so on. So we got that image and there, and then now we need to add that to the view. Okay, so we want to have this view here. So in this case, we want to have an image of this up here instead. Okay, so this one here will be a view object of flags. Let's change this. Okay, and then of n. So not the image, but the view. And we'll delete this one. I think that's better. And then now we're going to populate the flags of I equals this is right. New image view of the image. I think that's so every image of the flag we create that and store this image, and then we add it to the first array, and then we loop that through 10 times, and so we should have an array called flags that contain 10 image. Let's see if this works. Okay, so now just to show if that works, we could now add, so down here I'm going to remove that, and want to add in here just add the first flag. So flags of 0. See if that shows up. Okay, if it does, then it should show the Canadian flag, I think. All right? Okay, I'm going to run it, see if the Canadian flag shows up. So there it is. Okay, so the array now stores 10 of those flags inside these flags. And so each of these flag of I is an image view so that you can display inside here. So I could now display flags 1 and then flags 2 and so on, right? So each of those are separate objects. And if you want to know, I think you should display 3 flags, right? And they're pretty big because we didn't force the size to be smaller. So we could just limit that to 2 so we can see. So it's in order. What if you want to randomize the flag?
Map.random.
Right. So instead of flag of 0 or flag of 1, you want to randomize these 2 flags each time. So here you could create a randomizer, and then we'll pull the flag based on that random number, or you can just put it in here, it's fine. But we'll just put here, let's just say int what? For now R1, right? Is math random, and then we'll put a number between 0 and 9. Is that right? No, it's not right.
We'll do 10.
Let's do it this way. We'll have like random RND is equal to new random. And then it's going to be, we do it this way. There's several ways to do it, but one way is this way, I think. RND dot next int of between 0 and 9. Okay? So it should randomize the number between 0 and 9, and then we'll set the random number to R1, and we'll put like the R1 in here. And we do the same for a different number. We copy that, put it down here, and then this would be the R2, and then we'll put R2 here. Right? So we have 2 random numbers. There's a chance that those random numbers could be the same. We'll see if this works. So we have the flag and the 2 different flags. Run it again, and we have random flags. Okay? So I think this is one of your assignments, to randomly pick 2 cards from the deck of 52 cards. So you could do a randomizer from between 0 to 51 or 52, however you choose to do it, and then you display 3 random cards. Okay. Another way that the book tells you is you go back to chapter 11. There's another way you can do the shuffle. You shuffle your array, so it's randomly shuffle inside the array first, and then you can display the first 3 or any 3 of those. If you want to follow that rule, that's fine too. Okay.
So use an array list for that one thing?
Yeah, you could use an array list if you want to use the array list, and then you do the .add, you add the flag to it through a loop, and then you would just do the shuffle collection.shuffle. Okay, and that should be that should also work. Well, this works too. Okay, any questions on this? Okay, so now we have the H box and so on, right? So so for example, if I go back to the flag well, no, that's okay. This is just one way. You can do it, many different ways. And if you want to add like the icon to the stage, you can do that as well. I think like icon.add or something. But that's only for like just make your site or your image looks nice and so on, which is okay, but it's not really that important. Okay, so do we need to take a break or we don't? We'll take a 5-minute break. Let's take a 5-minute break and come back and we'll dive into chapter 15 a little bit because there's some really important topics. At least I want to go over the event handlers before we take off tonight. Okay.